just wanted you to watch me dissolve slowly in a pool full of your love. But I don't even know how the chemistry works when your poolside kicking in the dirt, kicking in the sand and stirring up trouble. Can't find an exit. I wander in a maze alone. If I find you, will you shock me? Left and right. Pretty sure that I've been here before, and it isn't what I wanted. I just wanted you to watch me dissolve slowly in a pool full of your love. But I don't even know how the chemistry works when your poolside kicking in the dirt, kicking in the sand and stirring up trouble. Your voice like an angel, been chain smoking all month long, like you're someone I believe in. Am I only elaborate? Someone you can test things on. This isn't what I signed up for. I just wanted you to. I just wanted. I just wanted you to watch me dissolve slowly in a pool full of your love. But I don't even know how the chemistry works when your poolside kicking in the dirt, kicking in the sand and stirring up trouble. I just wanted you to watch me dissolve.
Where's everybody? Only got 24 in the building right now. What is going on out there, macro students? Today's Thursday. And we're almost there, right? We're gonna start learning about demand today, supply tomorrow. Then you guys got one more week with me, and then don't forget this stuff, okay? Don't forget this stuff. All right. Couple more seconds, and then we'll do our attendance for the day. Couple other changes for today is I dropped the problem set today. I'm not going to give you guys a problem set today, okay? Because we're going to be pretty lecture heavy, all right? So I don't know if I'm going to be able to give you guys enough time to like really, have a problem set and all that. So have that in mind, right? But be gracious, right? Make sure you guys are paying attention, okay? We will have an exit ticket. I will post that exit ticket on Google Classroom. Actually, I'm gonna go do that right now. That way we can just kind of like, when we get to that point, we're good to go. All right. So your attendance in the chat today. Is I want to hear your favorite season of the year, right? Fall, winter, spring, summer, and why. You got to explain why. What is your favorite Michigan season? Not like all-time Michigan, like football season. Like, what is your favorite season of the year in Michigan here, right? Because we're almost in the fall. Are we technically in the fall yet? I'm not sure, but fall, winter, spring, summer. You got to explain why. I think it's a good one because you can't be like nothing, no season. What do you mean? You gotta explain why. You gotta say summer, comma, whatever, winter, comma. Because I like the snow. There you go. Yo, hey, this is a remix. You guys hear this? Is it copyright infringement? I don't know. Oh no, I messed up. Hold on. I'm still trying to do this other thing over here real quick. So 1 second here. Yeah, I'm gonna get struck with copyright here. And this hey people, this is gonna be due today. This assignment is gonna be due today. All right, do not turn it in late. You understand? Don't be doing that. All right, let me see here. What are some of you guys putting in the chat here? Well, if you say your winter and then like later on I can't put that together. That's tough to do because it's hot. Winter because I like the snow. Summer because it's hot. Summer because it's warm. Fall because it's a vibe. Explain, Dylan. What does that mean? Because I like the color of the snow. Vacation. Summer because it's hot. Orchards and sports and the weather. Probably fall for that one, Kennedy, right? Fall, cooler weather. You guys are all liking the fall, but I think that's kind of like a little recency bias. I think you guys are saying that because it's recency bias here. Fall sweaters, yeah. I do like dressing in the fall better than dressing in the summer. I like wearing like pants and like longer like sweaters and stuff and like hoodies and stuff like that for sure. Oh yeah. Autumn. Yeah, man, you guys are all just. That's good though. That's a good thing about Michigan is when you get sick of one season, the next season rolls around and you're like, yes, I've been waiting for fall. The whole year I've been waiting for the fall. And then like you're tired of fall and you're like, yes, the first snow. I've been waiting for the winter the whole time. And you're like really tired of it. And you're like, spring, finally. Yeah. Summer because it's warm. Fall is pretty and the weather's nice. Spring, not too hot. Spring. It's just a vibe, you feel me? I like the leaves and the slight breeze. IDK. What? Alright, anyway. Okay, so any other announcements do I have for you guys? I'm trying to think. Do I have any other announcements for you guys? No. Oh yeah, I do. People, I do. Alright, so I returned your problem sets today, and they weren't looking too hot, to be honest with you. I mean, some of them were, right? Like half you guys are seeing the cow, and half you guys are not seeing the cow. And I don't know if it's whether you're not seeing the cow or you're being lazy. I don't know, but I don't know. I didn't grade all your problem sets. Out of 28 of you guys, I probably looked at like 15 of you guys, just for time's sake. And I was like, all right, like something look good. But some of you guys are like really lost, right? So if you are, right, like if you look at your like the key I just posted, 1.3, stay with me in Google Meet. Stay with me in Google Meet. Okay, like usually when I release you guys at 12 o'clock, for the most part, from 12 to 12:30. Yesterday, like there was nobody even in there after like 12:05, right? So if you need help and you don't want to, you're afraid to ask in front of everyone else, generally it'll be like 2 or 3 of you, or maybe just you, right? So I can help you out. Okay, don't get lost in this stuff. It's kind of like math. Once the train leaves, the train kind of leaves, right? So it's not good. And then also you got to make sure you're good, because after next week, if you don't know it, you're not even going to have the opportunity to forget it, right? So that's not good either. So make sure you are just good. You handle your business. You take ownership of your learning, like I'm always talking about, because it's you. At the end of the day, it's just you, right? You got to know this stuff. Okay, I already know this stuff, and it gives me fulfillment if you know it, right? I'm going to try my best, but at the end of the day, I got to move on a little bit. Okay. Anyway, let's move on here. Let's get to what we need to do today. There's a lot of stuff we got to do today, but it's fun stuff, right? You guys have heard about supply and demand before, I would imagine, and now you're finally going to learn about it, which would be pretty sweet. So, demand. All right, so we're going to talk about demand today. I like starting off with demand before we learn about supply, because I think demand is a little bit easier for students to understand, because you guys all demand goods and services. You guys are all consumers, all right? So when price changes, you generally know how to respond. At least I would hope you would know how to respond. Okay? I don't know, some of you guys out there, you guys are making me nervous. Don't make me nervous anymore. I'm going to start cracking down a little bit on problem sets. You turning them in late, or you have a bunch blank, or you're writing answers that like there's no way anyone would ever write that. I'm on to you. I'm watching you. Okay? Anyway, all right. So what is demand? Right? So we're learning about supply and demand. What is demand, right? Demand is the willingness and ability to want to buy goods and services, or a good or a service, all right? Willingness and ability to buy a good, okay? Demand is the willingness and ability to buy a good at various prices. So, one, you have to be willing to buy the good, or else you do not have demand for a good, right? So, for example, does Mr. Moore have demand for baby diapers at this current moment? Would I show up on the demand curve in the baby diaper market? No, I would not, right? Because I do not have a baby, okay? So, Mr. Moore does not have demand for baby diapers, although I can afford it, right? I'm able to buy baby diapers. I'm not willing to buy baby diapers because I don't have a baby, right? So, therefore, I do not have demand for that product in that market. Does Mr. Moore have demand for Bugattis? No, all right? I mean, I'd be willing to buy one if, the price is right, but I'm not able to buy a Bugatti, so therefore I do not have demand for a Bugatti. Next, okay, so what is the law of demand? We're going to spend a lot of time with the law of demand today. You have to know the law of demand, and furthermore, we're going to explain why the law of demand occurs. 3 reasons. There's 3 reasons why the law of demand occurs. So what is the law of demand? You guys should behave accordingly, right, with the law of demand. You guys know the law of demand already. When price increases, how do you generally respond? What happens to your willingness and ability to buy a good when price increases? Well, when price increases, generally you guys respond by buying less quantities, right? When price goes up, you tend to buy less things. Your willingness and ability will decrease. When price goes down, people tend to buy more things, right? Because your willingness and ability will therefore increase. That's the idea of the law of demand. An inverse relationship between price and quantity demanded. Inverse relationship between the price and the things that you're willing and able to buy at various prices. Okay? So price goes up, people buy less. Price goes down, people buy more. I think that's pretty easy to understand. Now, generally, again, in a classroom setting, we do this little example. We're not really going to be able to do it like here, but generally I sell A's, right? I'm like, hey, do you guys want to buy an A? Hey, if the price is right, I'll hook you up. I'm just kidding. All the parents out there are like, what the heck? Is this guy making money off selling grades? No, I'm just kidding. But generally it works like this, right? As price increases, right? If I said, The price to buy an A in my class is $0. Who would be willing to buy an A in this class for $0? And every hand goes up, right? Because all of you guys would be willing to buy an A at a price of $0. But if I increase the price to say, $25, right? A lot of you guys would be like, you know what? This class isn't that crazy, right? I'm not willing to pay $25. So some of you guys would demand it, right? Maybe instead of 28, maybe 20. And then if I increase the price to say $100, right? Maybe only like 10 of you guys would be willing to buy the A. Maybe if I increase the price to $500, maybe only like 5 of you guys are willing to buy the A, so forth and so on, right? So when we put these various prices and quantities demanded next to them, that's called a demand schedule. And then we're later going to plot this out and graph this out. But generally, when price goes up, people are going to be like, you know what, less willing and able to buy it, right? Price goes down, more willing and able to buy a good or a service. That's the demand schedule. Okay, so it says I have a nice desktop set for sale. It's about 12 years old. Everything on it's outdated. I'm trying to get $900 for it. DM me if you're interested, right? So maybe this is the computer that you're using to tune into the live stream here. I hope not. But, people, do you guys have demand for this good? Do you have demand for this good? You can tell this person in this house was like a smoker, right? Look at the yellow tinge on it. When I was little, like really little, and I got a computer kind of like this from my grandpa, and it was like really nasty because he smoked all the time. But yeah. No, I hope you guys don't have demand for this. Why? Because you guys aren't willing to buy it, right? You probably aren't willing to buy it. Or maybe you're not able to buy it, right? Maybe you don't have $900. Either or, you do not have demand for this product. You've got to be both willing and able to buy it at this price. Okay. Why does the law of demand occur? So again, what is the law of demand? Price increases, quantity demanded decreases. Or price decreases, quantity demanded increases. That's the law of demand. So why does it happen? Remember, when we learned about PPCs, I said this is the method that we learned about economics, right? Explain the concept using words. We did that, right? What's the law of demand and try to make sense out of it. Explain it using numbers. We'll do that in a second, but we kind of did that with selling A's in the class. Plot those numbers on a graph. Make generalizations is the idea. So we all need to believe that the law of demand occurs, right? We all need to believe that this is law and it occurs. That way when we manipulate our graph, we can make those generalizations on what will occur in various markets. So the first reason why the law of demand occurs is something known as the substitution effect. The second is the income effect, and the third is the law of diminishing marginal utility. I'm going to talk about each one in detail here, so don't worry if you're copying notes here. I'll give you time. Number one, the substitution effect. Why does the law of demand occur? Well, generally, there are substitutes for most goods and services out there in the world, right? So generally, if the price goes up for, say, Coca-Cola, I can respond by buying less Coca-Cola because I can move away from Coca-Cola and I can buy more of a different good instead, a substitute good instead. That's the idea. So if the price of Coca-Cola goes up, I can buy less Coca-Cola. So price goes up for Coca-Cola, quantity demanded goes down for Coca-Cola, because I can move away from Coca-Cola and buy Pepsi instead. So that's why the law of demand occurs. Or vice versa, say the price of Coca-Cola goes down, how come people buy more Coca-Cola? Because they move away from Pepsi and they buy more Coca-Cola. So the law of demand occurs because people move away or move to substitute products depending upon that change in price. Is the general idea. Now there is some goods that there aren't substitutes. And if you take microeconomics, we'll learn what does demand look like in that scenario, right? Well, I'll give you a hint. We change the slope of the demand curve. It's called elasticity. So like oil, for instance, right, or like gasoline, right, the fuel our cars. If the price goes up for gas, do you really buy less? People might cut down a little bit and carpool a little bit more, but generally they buy the same amount, pretty close to the same amount. So people are pretty unresponsive to a change in price. But most goods, right, have substitutes. So most goods, when price increases, you buy less because you move away from one product and go to the other, vice versa. Okay? So that's why the law of demand occurs, the substitution effect. So if you get a question that says, which of the following is an example of the substitution effect, that's it, right? Price goes up for one good, you buy less because you can buy less. You move away from another product. Price goes down, why do you buy more? Because you can buy more because you moved away from the more expensive product to the cheaper product. Okay, Second reason to why the law of demand occurs is called the income effect. Again, this one's kind of like the first one. It's pretty easy to wrap your head around, I would hope. The income effect works like this. Say the price of milk is $5, right? And I have $5. So I go to the grocery store and I can buy 1 unit of milk, 1 gallon of milk. Let's say price of milk goes down to $2.50. So price goes down. Will I buy more? Yes, I will buy more. Because now I'm more able to buy more, quite simply. If I have $5 in my pocket and I notice there's like a 2-for-1 BOGO deal on milk, instead of buying 1 unit of milk, I can now buy 2 units of milk. So quite simply, the income effect is price goes down, people buy more because they can buy more. They have more purchasing power. And that's the income effect. Or if the price of milk goes from 5 to 10 and I have $5, price goes up, I buy less because now my purchasing power is less. I can't buy the same amount of units of milk because price increased. Now I can't buy any units of milk, perhaps. That's the idea of the income effect. Okay? People, it's so weird teaching without feedback. It's so weird. But I know you're listening. I know you're listening. I wish there wasn't as much delay and then we could be a little bit more interactive, but hope you guys are doing good out there. All right, so this, number 3, the third reason to why the law of demand occurs. In a classroom setting, generally I make a student drink like an entire huge gallon of Kool-Aid, and it's pretty awesome to watch. And some students go to the bathroom and they're there for quite a long time. So, it's unfortunate, right? But the law of diminishing marginal utility states, well, you guys tell me what the law of diminishing marginal utility is. You guys should already know. We already learned about this a little bit, actually. Diminishing, decreasing, marginal means additional, utility means satisfaction. So think about the law of diminishing marginal utility means the law of decreasing additional satisfaction. You guys remember the pizza? Every time I eat a slice of pizza, I increase my total utility, right? Because a slice of pizza gives me satisfaction, but each additional unit of pizza consumed is going to give me less and less satisfaction. The more you consume of anything, the less and less satisfied you'll get marginally with that additional slice, right? Every time you go to Cedar Point, it's not going to be as cool as the first time. It's a general idea. It's kind of depressing, but it's generally how things work, okay? So, with that being said, if we understand the law of diminishing marginal utility, and that's it written out right there, the more you consume of anything, the additional satisfaction that you receive will eventually fall. Don't get confused with total satisfaction. The more pizza you consume, the more total satisfaction you're going to have. Your total satisfaction will increase every unit of pizza that you consume. But the marginal utility, the marginal satisfaction goes down each additional slice of pizza that you consume. So, what does this have to do with the law of demand? What does this have to do with the law of demand? Think about it like this, right? You guys ever go to like a pizza restaurant and you buy it by the slice, right? There's one at Michigan State University. That's pretty cool, right on Grand River there. But yeah, you buy it by the slice. So, if every slice you get less and less satisfied, what has to happen to price for you to buy more slices of pizza? If you know that every slice of pizza that you consume, you're going to be less and less satisfied, eating it. So what has to happen to price for them to get you to buy 3 units, or maybe 4 units, or maybe 5, slices of pizza? Or, that's pretty much the example I got for you guys. What do you think? Price has to decrease is the idea. Price has to decrease for you to buy more and more and more units of a good, right? If the first slice of pizza gives me 10 utility, right? 10 units of utility, maybe I'm willing to pay like $4 for that slice of pizza because it's really good, right? The second slice of pizza, I'm maybe willing to pay like $3, right? The third slice of pizza, maybe like $2. So if they charge $4 for every slice of pizza, thank you, Sydney. Very good, Kyle. Very good. I'm only going to be willing to buy that one slice of pizza, right? So the whole idea is for quantity demanded to increase, price must decrease, because we know that consumers are less and less willing to buy a good because they get less and less satisfied every unit of a good that they consume, right? Think about Costco. If everyone's been to like Costco before, in order for you to buy, I don't know, like a package of like 20 apples or like a 4-pack of like cereal, right? That price has to be pretty low per unit to buy so much quantities of whatever good. That's the general idea. So number 2 says, how does this affect the pricing of businesses? Well, here's a good example. If anyone's ever been to Disney World or Disneyland, it's pretty much the same, right? So look at this. It says a one-day ticket costs $96, right? So if you want to go to Disneyland for one day, it costs $96. But if you buy a 2-day pass, the per day amount is $89, $178 in total, right? And you can see 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, right? So the bigger the packages, 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, 4 day, 5 day package, the price per day goes down, right? And again, why do they do that? Because they want you in the park. They want you buying concessions. They want you buying souvenirs, right? They want you staying in the hotels, right, for as long as possible, right? Because they know that the first day is going to be awesome, right? Or as the kids say, lit. Ha! Right? Just kidding. Horrible joke. But the first day is pretty cool, right? The first day you got it all planned out, right? You know, you've been thinking about this Disneyland trip for a year. You know exactly what you want to do on that first day. The second day, oh yeah, there's still tons of stuff to do, and it's still probably really cool things that you want to do. You've been looking forward to do. Third day, the same, but like as the fourth day comes around, like you're like, I've already seen it all, right? And the things I haven't seen, I'm not really that interested in. So maybe the fourth day, you know, I would be willing to go to the beach instead, or the fifth day, I'd be willing to go to Busch Gardens or something like that, right? Some sort of other, you know, amusement park, right? So price has to decrease for you to continue to consume, in this case, like the service of Disneyland is the idea. And they also put fringe benefits in here, Magic Morning. I think it's like when you get to eat breakfast with like the, you know, Mickey Mouse and all that, right? So they got to incentivize you via a decrease in price and other fringe benefits in order to consume more of a good or service is the general idea. So that's why the law of demand occurs. You got the income effect, you got the substitution effect, and you got the law of diminishing marginal utility. Very good. Very good. All right. So, economic model alert. Oh, no. You know, people, you know what I'm going to do this weekend? I'm always going to be working on the stream over the weekend. I think I'm going to put, like, hotkeys, so if I hit a key, I get different, like tones, or, like, different music, right, which would be pretty cool. So, our audio clips. Can't wait for it. But economic model, people. Who is that on the left, people? Who is that on the left? Who's that on the right? You guys already learned about one economic model. That was the PPC, the Production Possibility Curve, also known as the Production Possibility Frontier. The next one is supply and demand. And we're going to start off with the demand curve first. But the person on the left is not George Washington. No, he looks just like him. It is not. It is Adam Smith, the founder of economics. The founder of economics, right? 1776, The Wealth of Nations, the founder of economics. The person on the right is Janet Yellen. I need to update my slides a little bit, but the person on the right was the former chair of the Fed, appointed by former President Obama, and the chair of the Federal Reserve generally is regarded as the most powerful person in the world, because when you are chair of the Federal Reserve for the U.S., you are steering the largest economy in the world. The U.S. still has the highest GDP in the world. So Janet Yellen at the time was definitely the most powerful person in the world, which is pretty crazy. Those are the two economic models. All right. Anyway, so let's get into George Washington. Let's get into the demand curve. So a demand curve is a graphical representation of a demand schedule. Blah 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 blah. Boring stuff. Moving on. Okay. So let's put the points here. Right. So on the left is called the demand schedule. I just had a student email me in college, and they go, Mr. Moore, my professor is using other words. Like, I don't know. They keep calling the curve schedule and not the demand curve. Well, like, you know, the demand schedule is like the prices and the quantity demanded for those prices. So yeah, it makes sense why the professor might call that, right? The demand curve itself. So what is our demand schedule saying? The price is $5 and the willingness and ability to buy the good is 10 units. In other words, at $5, people are willing and able to buy 10 units of milk. When price decreases, you guys can see the law of demand occur. When price decreases from 5 to 4, right, people are willing and able to buy more units of milk, right? Because you know, the law of demand, right? Income effect, substitution effect. They're going to move away from almond milk maybe, or they just have more purchasing power. So when the price goes down from 5 to 4, people are willing and able to buy 20 units. When it goes from 4 to 3, people are now willing to buy 30 units. So you can see that inverse relationship. When price decreases, people are willing and able to buy more. If price was to increase, people would be willing and able to buy less. So if we plot all those points on our demand curve, or on our graph, we would get our demand curve there. So notice a couple things. Demand will always slope down. Demand descends. Demand to the dirt. Demand goes down, right? I don't need any other memory aids. Demand down, right? And why does it go down? Because it's an inverse relationship between what? Price and quantity. So there's our labels. Price is always on the vertical. And you guys will just totally know this here in a couple days, but like for now, like a little memory aid for you, is price is a vertical letter. So put it on the vertical axis. And then quantity thus has to be on the horizontal. Because if we're plotting demand, it's the demand schedule, price and quantity demanded. So there's our label. So as price decreases, quantity demanded increases. Okay? And sometimes it'll look like this, right? Students will make this mistake. If price goes from 3 to 2, right? If you notice your demand curve, it's going down, but quantity demanded increases because we go from 30 units to 50 units. A lot of people say quantity demanded goes down because like we're moving down our curve. No, if price decreases, we move down our curve, and that's going to illustrate the increase in quantity demand. We're going to move from 30 units to 50 units. Okay? Make sure you're tracking. What time we at? 11:30. We're doing outstanding. All right, so this is maybe someone's individual demand, right? No, it can't be. At $5, no one would be willing to buy 10 units of milk. At $1, no one would be willing to buy 80 gallons of milk. You are a milk connoisseur if that's the case. But generally, how do we get market demand? We add up everyone's individual demand curves, right? So market is the sum of all individuals. So, Billy has his own demand for milk. At $5, he buys 1 gallon. At $1, he buys 7 gallons, right? Again, he loves milk maybe. And then maybe, Gene doesn't really like milk, lactose intolerant, other individuals, add them all together, add them all up. That's our market demand. So market demand, say the market for milk, is all of the consumers of milk and all of the producers of milk when we learn about supply tomorrow, right? It sounds macro, but it's micro, right? Because we're looking at one market, the market of milk, but it's everyone that is willing and able to buy milk and everyone that's willing and able to supply milk, and that would be the total quantity. So in this market, what it says is at $3, everyone collectively is willing to buy a total of 30 units of milk at $3. Same for $4, collectively, everyone who's willing and able to buy milk would collectively be willing to buy 20 units of milk. We're looking at markets, right? Not just like one person. Okay, we don't have time to do reviews anymore, which is really sad. Reviews are really fun in class. Okay, anyway. Okay, the next concept we're about to talk about is the number one most missed question on the AP test, believe it or not. I know we're the second week in, but this concept right here is the number one most missed question on the AP test. And we're going to learn about so much more complex concepts. Much more complex than this. But for whatever reason, it's the number one most missed question on the AP test. And it probably forever will be. You'll see why here in a second. But don't fall victim to it, okay? All right, remember, ceteris paribus means all else equal. Don't think so much. Keep it simple. We're keeping it simple in here. Exactly, okay? So it says a shift means that at the same prices, more people are willing and able to buy a particular good. Overall thing is this: if we shift our curve entirely, right? Like we move that curve entirely to the right or to the left, that is called a change in demand. A change in demand. It's a change in demand because the willingness and ability at all prices will change. That's a change in demand. If the demand curve does not shift and simply price changes, that's called a change in quantity demanded because we're just going to move along our graph. We're going to move along our demand curve. That's called a change in quantity demanded. So, what causes a change in demand? A change in demand is a shift of our curve, so it has to be something other than a change in price. It has to be, what's going to happen to the demand for umbrellas if rain's in the forecast? What's going to happen to the demand for umbrellas if there's a plastic shortage, right, or something like that? That would change supply. Anyway, it has to be something else external changing the market. A change in quantity demanded is always the result of a change in price. So the price of umbrellas goes from $3 to $2. That's not going to cause a change in demand. The demand curve is still going to be where it's at. We're just going to follow our demand curve down, and we're going to notice that the price of umbrellas goes down. People are going to buy more umbrellas. Okay? If it's not making sense right now, believe me, I got illustrations for you. Whole point, price does not shift the curve. Do not do that. If price changes for umbrellas, you're not going to change the demand for umbrellas. What you will notice, though, is the quantity demanded for umbrellas will change based on the law of demand. If price increases or decreases. When you find out that demand and quantity demanded aren't the same thing. That's why it's the number one most missed question, people, is because it seems like the same thing, but we put one word in front of it, and it makes it different than the other one. Demand and quantity demanded are two different concepts, two different ideas. Further illustrations, all right? So let's look at a change in demand. Okay, let's look at a change in demand. Change in demand would be like this, right? We're in the milk market, and it says, what if milk makes you smarter, right? There's some sort of new study out, and a bunch of scientists prove that if you consume milk, people gave milk before they took the SAT, and those participants that had milk scored much higher than those that didn't on the SAT. So we conclude that milk makes you smarter. You're going to score better on the SAT. But what would happen, for your demand for milk, right? Some of you guys are like, I don't really like milk, or I like milk. Regardless, you're going to be willing and able to buy milk at all prices, right? You'd be willing to be able to buy more milk at all prices, rather. So beforehand, at $5, collectively, everyone in this market was willing to buy 10 units of milk. Now, at $5, people are going to be willing and able to buy more units of milk. At all prices, the quantity demanded for milk is going to change. That is called a change in demand. A change in demand is when that curve shifts entirely, because it has to. Because no longer those quantity demandeds go with those price points. Now, since milk makes you smarter, people are willing and able to buy more at those same prices. So instead of buying 10 units, people are willing to buy 30 units at $5. Instead of buying 20 units at $4, people are willing and able to buy 40 units at $4. So our demand curve has to shift to the right entirely. Okay? Increase to the right, decrease to the left, graphically. Mr. Moore is always right, more to the right. Okay, that's the idea. So, and also when I don't know if you guys can see it, my head's probably covering it up here. When you draw a change in demand, always label that new curve and make sure we know it's new. Generally, I label this D, and I label my new curve D1. But you can label it D2, however way you want to label it, but you have to show that the AP graders know that that is the newer curve, not the previous curve. Okay? That's called a change in demand. That is called a change in demand. At all prices, people's willingness and ability to buy has changed, in this case, increased. What if another study comes out and says if you drink milk, it causes baldness, right? We finally found why people become bald. It's because they're drinking too much milk, right? So if you drink milk, you're going to become bald. What's going to happen? Well, I would say, I don't want to become bald. I like my hair, right? If that study came out, I probably want to buy. I want to consume any milk. I wouldn't even risk it. Maybe I'd consume a little bit for cooking purposes, right? Because maybe it goes away as you cook it, right? I don't know. The whole point is people at all prices would not be willing to buy the same amount of quantities. Beforehand at $5, people would be willing to be able to buy collectively 10 units in this market. Now at $5, people want to buy a single gallon of milk. At $1, people would buy 80 units of milk. Now, collectively, people will only be willing to buy 60 units of milk. At all prices, the quantity demanded has now decreased. So, this is a change in demand. The demand curve has changed entirely. At all prices, people are willing and able to buy different quantities. Decrease in demand. Increase to the right, decrease to the left. Illustrate that new demand curve. Draw D2, D1, whatever. Make sure it looks new. And also, sometimes draw the arrow in there. It doesn't hurt anything, right? The curve has shifted. Here's my new curve. I'm illustrating a decrease in demand. At all prices, people are willing and able to buy less. Again, that is called a change in demand. What is not a change in demand is this. It says, what happens to demand for milk if the price of milk goes up, right? So what happens here? Well, if the price of milk goes from, $3 to $4, does people's willingness and ability to demand the product change at all prices? No. We just go to a new quantity demanded. Price went up from 3 to 4, and people are like, all right, well, I'm going to buy collectively 20 units in this market, right? That was not a change in demand. Our demand has not changed. The willingness and ability to buy at all prices has not changed. We're just going to go simply to a new quantity demanded. So if it says what happens to demand, nothing. Nothing happened to demand here. What happened to quantity demanded? If price increases, quantity demanded has decreased. We're gonna go to a lower level of willingness and ability to buy this good because of the price change. But the demand curve has not changed at all. People's willingness and ability to buy at these prices are the same. So we're just going to find that new price and figure out what is the new quantity demanded. I hope you're tracking out there. Okay? On a scale from 1 to 5, 1, you have no idea where we're currently at right now or what day of the week it is. 5, you're like, Mr. Moore, I think. No, 5 is, Mr. Moore, I know the difference between a change in demand and a change in quantity demanded. 4, I'm kind of there. Like I think I know it. I think I'm following you, but I need to do some practice. 5, I understand it. 3, I think I'm there. You guys get the point. Help me out. Where are you guys at right now? 1, you're like, where are we? Are we in Mars? 5, I get it. I get the difference between a change in demand and a change in quantity demanded. Okay? We'll see it on chat. Breathe in. Price does not shift the demand or supply curve. People, this rule will not change tomorrow when we learn about supply. It will not change tomorrow. If price changes, we move about our curve to find the new quantity demanded or perhaps quantity supplied. A change in demand means quantities change entirely at the same prices, right? People are willing and able to buy more of that same price. People are willing and able to buy less at that same price is the idea, okay? Further illustrations. People, you guys know this is a big deal because I've allocated like 8 slides to this, okay? This is the number one most missed question. Don't fall victim to it because I'm going to assess you guys on this next week. So it says a change in quantity demanded, sometimes like it's written like QD, quantity demanded versus a change in demand, okay? Look at it right here. There's 2 ways to get to a quantity of 20. There's 2 different ways to get to a quantity of 20 demanded in this market. The first way is moving from A to B. Moving from A to B would be caused by what? Moving from A to B is what? A change in demand or a change in quantity demanded? What do you think? Is that a change in demand or a change in quantity demanded for moving from A to B? That is a change in quantity demanded, right? Demand didn't change. The curve didn't shift, right? That's what I mean by demand. Demand has not shifted. Demand has not changed. From A to B is called a change in quantity demand. In this case, it's an increase in quantity demanded. Why? Because that was caused by a change in price. When price went from 3 to 2, we followed our demand curve, and we noticed that people, instead of being willing and able to buy 10 units, now they're going to be willing and able to buy 20 units because price decreased. Price decreased, law of demand sets in, people are now willing and able to buy 20 units. That is called a change in quantity demanded, and what causes it is a change in price. The only thing that causes it is a change in price. Another way we can get to 20 units demanded is a change in demand, right? That would be a change from A to C. At $3, people used to be willing and able to buy 10 units. Now at $3, people are willing and able to buy 20 units. Why are people willing and able to buy more units at the same price? Well, some sort of external market force has had to, been applied to this market. Weather, change in the price of a related good. There's more people, right, in the area. Maybe popularity of the good has increased. Something else has happened in this market that has changed people's willingness and ability to buy at all prices, and it was not just simply a change in price. So from A to B, again, is a change in price, causing a change in quantity demanded, in this case an increase in quantity demanded. A to C is a change in demand, more specifically an increase in demand. Okay? So A to B is an increase in quantity demanded, A to C is an increase in demand. Okay? So what we're going to do next, after further illustrations, is we're going to talk about what does shift demand. What are the 5 things that you're expected to know that changes demand, and you're expected to know that how to shift it in the right direction at this point. That's all I really want you to be at today. Okay? But you should know right now, how do we get from A to B? That's a decrease in price, causing an increase in quantity demanded. If we were to go from B to A, that'd be an increase in price, causing a decrease in quantity demanded. Both A to B and B to A is the law of demand. A to C is not the law of demand. from A to C is a change in demand. And we need to learn what causes that to occur. And that's coming your way after further illustrations. Okay? So again, this should bring it home, people. This should bring it home. If this doesn't, I don't know what else to do. I don't know what else to do. Graphing shifts in quantity demanded, right? So again, this is a change in quantity demanded. We're moving along our curve. So what would cause a decrease in quantity demanded? Quantity to go from 6 units to 2 units. It'd be an increase in price from, 1.1 to $2. Price increase causing a decrease in quantity demanded. That's the law of demand. Law of demand also would be like this. Decrease in price causes an increase in quantity demanded. We'd go from 6 units to 9 units. Again, don't say decrease as we're moving down our demand curve. Price is here, quantity demanded would increase. This is a change in quantity demanded. Okay? A change in demand is at all prices, people's demand has now changed, right? Milk makes you smarter. If you drink milk, people think you're cool. If you drink milk, or the price of almond milk has increased, so people are move away from almond milk and they buy more milk instead. This is a change in demand. This is a decrease in demand. Increase to the right, decrease to the left. Got it? Change in quantity demanded, change in demand. So important. Okay. Last slide, then we'll do some fun stuff. We'll do our exit ticket, and I'll have you guys out and on your way. What causes a shift in demand? People, second most important slide today. Okay, what does shift our demand curve? So Annabeth, so for a change in quantity demanded, it depends on the price shift. Yeah, the price change, yeah. So quantity demanded only changes if price changes. If anything other than price changes, that will cause a shift in demand or a change in demand. Very, very good. So these are all the 5 things you need to know, right? Now, there's other things that change demand, right, that would shift the demand curve, but these are the 5 things that you have to know on the AP test. And the other ones are just more so common sense, like weather and things like that. So if you're taking notes, keep taking notes here. The 5 shifters of demand. It says determinants. Determinants, again, is just like a synonym for shifters, right? What would alter demand in a market? I have a memory aid, merit, right? Like achieve success, right? Merit, right? I don't know if it's going to really help you. Now, you don't have to know these shifters, okay? On the AP test, it's not going to say this happens. Which one of the shifters of demand is it, right? You don't have to know that. But like you generally need to know these shifters. I'm going to ask you to know these shifters for a little bit. That way you just know everything that's going to ever be asked, right? That, everything that's going to be asked for you, you know how to attack the question, okay? The first change of demand could be a result of a change in market size. So what do I mean by a change in market size? Population. Population, okay? There's more people, right? So for example, what would happen to the burger market in Grand Blanc if, a bunch of new neighborhoods are built in Grand Blanc and a bunch of people move into those neighborhoods in Grand Blanc? What would happen to the demand for burgers in Grand Blanc? It would increase. At all prices, people would be willing and able to buy more quantities of burgers because we have more people, right? We have more people there, right? Like if I moved to Grand Blanc, I would have my own individual demand curve for burgers and, add that to everyone else's individual demand curves that have already been in Grand Blanc. We're going to have more demand for burgers, which is simply more people. So that one's pretty easy. Less people, less demand, more people, more demand. The size of the market, the size of the consumer base is going to cause a change in demand. So more population, more demand for whatever good that we're looking at. Number 2, expectations. Okay, this one's sometimes a little bit more difficult for students to understand, but people, I guarantee you already know how to do this, right? You guys are 16, 17 years old. You guys know this, right? Let me give you an example. Let's say, I'm looking all weird my face is deteriorating, it looks weird. Let's say this happens, right? Your favorite video game or your favorite music album, right? Whatever your interests are. We'll say video game. Your favorite video game is expected to decrease in price next month, right? Everyone knows that there's going to be a huge sale in video games, right? All video games are going to decrease next price. I think generally, like the PlayStation, that generally happens in the wintertime for like sports games, right? Because sports games have already been out for a year. So you know that, right? You know that the price of a good that you like is going to go down next month. Your favorite shoes are going to go down in price next month. Your favorite clothing is going to go down in price next month. Are you going to demand more or less goods today? Today. If you know a future change in price is going to occur in this market, are you going to demand more or less today? If you expect price is going to decrease in the future, are you going to buy more or less of that good today? If you know the price is going to go down in the future. I'll tell you what, if I knew a good that I want to buy is going to go down in price next month, I'm going to hold off on buying that. I'm going to demand less today. I'm going to be less willing to buy it today, and I'm going to be more willing to buy it in the future. So demand will decrease today is the idea, because I know that the price is going to go down, I'm going to buy more in the future. So that's the idea. If we future expectations of price, if we know that the price of your video game is going to increase next month, demand is going to increase today. You're going to buy it today because you don't want to pay that higher future price. So it shouldn't be too confusing. You guys should know how to do this, right? If you know price of something's going to go up next month, why would you buy more of it today? You're going to buy less of it today. Okay? I hope so. So that's the idea of expectations of a future price. If we expect the price to change in the future, it's going to change our demand today, is the general idea. Number 3 is related goods, a change in price of a related good. So you're going to see a change in price, but it's not going to cause movement along our demand curve because the change in price is a different good, a good that's related to this good. And it has to be related, right? If the price of bananas changes, it's not going to change the demand for clothing, right? But if the price of a burger changes, it's going to change the demand for hot dogs, I would imagine. If burgers goes up in price, I'm going to move away from burgers and I'm going to demand more hot dogs. So burgers and hot dogs would be the idea of a substitute. So when you get a question about related goods, you need to identify, this is macroeconomics. It's going to be given to you, right? It's going to say good X is a substitute to good Y, okay? And good Y goes up in price, what's going to happen to demand for good X? If good Y and good X are substitutes, good Y goes up in price, and good X is the same good as good Y, I'm going to move away from good Y, and I'm going to buy more of good X. So the price of good Y goes up, demand for good X will increase. That's a substitute. The goods replace one another. You know, substitutes like milk and almond milk. It's like cereal and eggs maybe. It's like beef and chicken. It's like, I'll show you more examples here in a second. Goods that replace one another. You buy one or the other. Oatmeal and cereal, right? You don't eat both together. You either buy one or the other. So price goes up for one substitute, you're going to move away from that good and buy more of the other good. A complement, however, is a good that is related to one another. So for example, if the price of French fries goes up, are you going to demand more or less burgers? If the price of French fries goes up, you're going to demand less burgers. So demand for burgers in the burger market will decrease, shift to the left, because that's a meal, right? And I want to buy burgers and fries. I don't like to eat one without the other. So if I know I got to pay more for fries, the price of the meal has now increased. Maybe I'm going to be less, not as reluctant to buy burgers. I'm going to buy tacos instead. I don't know. Right? That's the idea. As a complement. Okay? It's a complement. So complements are goods that go together. Substitutes are goods that replace one another. So if a price changes for a good that is related, right? It's like a meal or it's like a direct substitute, it will change demand for the other good in question. Number 4 out of 5 is a change in income, right? I guarantee you guys, if you guys all received a pay raise today at your jobs, if you guys are working, your demand for most things would probably increase, right? If you received a pay raise, you might be more willing to buy a new phone. You might be more willing to buy a new backpack. Actually, you don't need backpacks anymore. You might be more willing to buy, an iPad, right? Or anything. So with this, we need to know, are goods normal or inferior? We need to know that are goods normal or inferior here. Let me put this in your notes here, because it's very, very important. Normal, inferior. And I'll talk more about this here in a second, okay? A normal good, like I said, is like most goods. Generally, if people receive more income, they're generally able to buy more goods, right? So like if you, normal good would be an iPhone, right? If you receive more income, you're probably going to be more willing to buy an iPhone. Your willingness and ability to buy it all, prices will increase. Demand for the iPhone will shift to the right. There are some goods out there that are inferior, right? Think about like ramen noodles, for instance. If you go to your job today and you receive a pay raise, are you going to go home and buy ramen noodles? No, you're gonna like go to Olive Garden in a pre-COVID world, right? You're gonna go buy fancy noodles in the noodle aisle, right? You're not gonna buy ramen noodles. An inferior good is when you receive more income, you buy less. Vice versa, right? If you lose your job today, right, and now you're unemployed, are you going to be more or less willing to buy ramen noodles? More willing to buy ramen noodles, right? That's the idea. Less income, you buy more. More income, you buy less. Would be an inferior good. There's some businesses when COVID has hit that have done really well, right? Because that's their market. Their market is inferior, right? You know, I'm sure if you looked at the sale of ramen noodles, unfortunately, it probably has increased as many Americans have lost their jobs. Okay, that's the idea of an inferior good. Think about like bus passes, right? Public transportation. If you receive an increase in income, right, you're going to be more willing to buy a car. That's the idea. So an inferior good is you buy less bus passes if you receive more income. You're going to go buy a normal good, a car instead, rather than an inferior good. So with number 3 and 4, substitute, complement, normal, and inferior is going to be given to you, and you got to know how that's going to cause the change in demand to occur. Okay, very, very important. Last but not least is the easiest one. It's popularity, it's taste. So that's easy. If the most popular kid in the school, who's the most popular kid here, right? Isn't it? What's his name again? Kyle LaHaye, right? Everyone watches videos. Kyle LaHaye. No, I'm just kidding, but whatever, right? The most popular kid is taking a yo-yo out, along the crossing path, doing all these crazy tricks with his yo-yo on the crossing path. All these freshmen are like, wow, look at Kyle LaHaye, rocking out with the yo-yo. That's pretty sweet. What are all the freshmen going to do? They're going to go buy yo-yos. That's it, right? So popularity, taste, preferences, right? Kyle starts dressing in 70s clothes, right? And everyone's like, wow, 70s clothes, that's kind of swag. I want to wear 70s clothes. Demand's going to increase for 70s clothes. That's the idea, right? If jeans become uncool, what's going to have demand for jeans? People are going to buy less jeans. Easy, right? That's the easy example. All right, so those were the 5 shifters of demand. Let's do some practice with it real quick. Let's rattle these off here. This is also going to be your notes, substitutes, complements, right? It's going to be your notes if you want to look at that. Coca-Cola, Pepsi, substitutes or complements? I'm going to get no feedback, but those are definitely substitutes, right? Kyle's a stud. Substitutes or complements? Real sugar or Splenda? Substitutes, right? If price of Splenda goes up, I'm going to move away from Splenda. I'm going to buy sugar. If the price of sugar goes up, I'm going to move away from sugar and buy Splenda, right? They're substitutes because that replace one another. Listening and sleeping at the same time to music, or paying attention to Mr. Moore in class. That's old Mr. Moore. That's first year Mr. Moore. Look how old that is. Substitutes, right? It's one replaces the other, right? You can't do both at the same time. Sleeping on your desk. You guys remember desks? Hey, there's one good thing about learning virtually. You guys aren't in those like those nasty desks anymore. Those hard like all day 6 hours. Be thankful, right? There's that. A lot of you guys are laying in your bed right now. But do pillows and desks go together? For some, maybe. For others, hopefully not. Okay, this one's easy. Substitutes or complements? iPhone charger and iPhone. Complements, right? They go together. If the price of a charger goes up, you're probably going to be less willing to buy an iPhone. If the price of an iPhone goes up, you're going to be less willing to buy an iPhone charger, sold separately. However, people, do your iPhones actually look like that? And when I mean like the screen looks all nice, it's not cracked. It's not like in a nuclear protected case, right? No, your iPhones look like this. Let's be real. All right, moving on. Video games and video game consoles, right? Complements to go together. If the price of the PlayStation goes up, people are going to be less willing to buy games for the PlayStation. Nike and Adidas, substitutes, right? You buy one or the other. Now, some of you guys wearing sports or playing sports out there, if you have Nike shoes, you can't wear Adidas socks with them. And if you have Adidas shoes, you can't wear Nike socks with them. I hope you guys know that. Right? Checking, okay? Substitutes or complements, watching Netflix or studying, right? Substitutes, you do one or the other, okay? Cookies and milk, complements, you better believe it. Your lunch versus my lunch, substitutes, right? This is your Mexican food, or this is your Mexican food, right? Another thing, be thankful, people. Are you eating this? No, you guys are going to Qdoba, right, between hours 2nd and 3rd. I know you are, right? Anyway, wear a mask. Okay. Substitutes or compliments. Look at these guys. Substitutes, right? If you're dating this guy, upsets you, you're going to move away from Jared and move to Jake, right? Is the idea. Kyle Cross Brands. Oh, yeah, don't be like that. When I was coaching defensive backs, if my DBs had Cross Brands on, you're not seeing the field. No way. And if you wear white shoes, you got to wear white socks. Wear black shoes, you got to wear black socks. I hope you guys know that as well, too. Anyway, that's Seth Meyers. Substitutes, right? You move away from him. BJ Novak, right? Bradley Cooper. No, you move away. Substitutes, right? All these guys replace one another. Look at these guys. Look at Liam Neeson and Fidel Castro. Come on, right? Vincent Van Gogh, Chuck Norris. Unbelievable scenes. Rihanna and a lime cat. Substitutes, right? Jacob Black and an alpaca. Come on, right? Substitutes, all substitutes. Now, this is a real life picture. Not taken by me, but off the internet. Substitutes or compliments here. What's going on, Walmart? What's going on, Walmart? Compliments, but I hope they're not compliments, right? You're not actually supposed to use these two goods together, but it is a chainsaw and Halloween mask, and it happened at a real life Walmart. You guys remember we had that whole clown crisis like years back? You guys probably like really little, when there's like clowns just like running around in the streets. I was really scared at night, especially. It's because of this, right? Walmart kind of messed up. Anyway, income, right? Normal versus inferior. These slides will be available to you, but let's do a little check on learning real quick. Spam, right? Is spam a inferior or normal good? Inferior, right? If I have more money, I'm not gonna buy spam, right? I'm gonna go get like a steak, like a real one, like one's like cut. Like a yacht. Is that inferior or normal? It's a normal good. If I have more money, I'm gonna be more willing to buy a yacht, right? Fruit rings, inferior. If I have more money, I'm gonna buy Fruit Loops, not fruit rings. If I have more money, I might like make like eggs and sausage and stuff like that, right? I'm not gonna eat maybe even cereal anyways. McDonald's, inferior. Fast food's inferior. I know for some of you guys, you might think it's normal. Hopefully, at some point in your life, you like move away from McDonald's. But I know there's always a time for McDonald's. What about toilet paper? What about toilet paper? Is that inferior or normal? Depends on the ply, right? Think about the toilet paper that is stocked at the school. You guys remember like the one ply squares at school? That's inferior. But like, a real nice toilet paper that's like 20 ply, that's normal. You better believe it. Okay, so that is all I got for you guys. Don't look at these. We're going to do a little check on learning to sort our day tomorrow. How's that? Okay, here's your exit ticket. This is what I posted on Google Classroom. Okay, you just got to fill this in. You got to identify the shifter. Tell me, does it increase, decrease, or shift to the right or left? So I'm going to pop into Google Meet here in a second. I'm going to share my screen. It's going to look like this. And we're going to be analyzing the hamburger market. And I'm going to say that hamburger is a normal good. Right? If you have more money, you buy more hamburgers. Okay? So now 2 of the 8 is no shift. There's no shifter that's going to take place. It's a trick question. It's probably just a change in price, right? It does not cause a change in demand. So identify that. So I'm gonna hop in Google Meet. You can take a break if you need it, but if you want to get out of here earlier, don't take the break. Hop in, get this done, submit your exit ticket, and then once your exit ticket is done, then you can dip out. Okay? But that is it for demand. Drop a like, smash that subscribe button. What else you do? Yeah, I'll see you guys in Google Meet. All right. Take a break if you need it though, but if you want to get this done ASAP, I'll be in there very, very quickly. All right.